You're listening to the Disruptive Franchise Podcast with Stacey Can, the podcast that celebrates innovation in franchising and peeks behind the curtain of failure, success, and the future of the franchise industry. What I keep hearing really consistently every time I speak to a franchisor, particularly a new franchisor that I've never met before, is franchise is hard right now, isn't it? So hard at the moment. I keep hearing that the economy is terrible. Oh my goodness, no one's buying franchises because no one's got any money. I also hear very quietly where people kind of shift awkwardly in their chair that they haven't signed a franchisee for a long time. And more I'm hearing from franchisors that have not signed a franchisee in over a year. And what I also hear a lot is I haven't got time. Now, if you've ever found yourself saying any of these things, then again, we have a bit of an issue here. Before I talk about that issue, if you say quite consistently that you haven't got time to focus on your franchise sales, and when I say sales, just for clarity for the rest of this, I don't mean like going out and hard selling your franchise. That is just a real turn off for me. It's about awarding franchises to the right franchisees, the right people. So that's what I mean in the context of when I say selling franchises. But if you haven't got time, if you're one of those people that are super mega busy, I just want to quickly introduce you to Charlotte. Charlotte is literally the busiest franchisor I've ever met. Ever. She has 2 kids. She still teaches in her original business. Her husband, Pete, is her business partner. He was teaching full-time when I met them in a secondary school, working all the hours. She also runs a festival every year. She's busy. She's a busy lady. But in the time that we worked together for 6 months, she actually managed to onboard 9 new franchisees. So that narrative that we're telling ourselves about the economy and how hard it is, she busted this for you. Okay, she's your proof that it's not. The revenue that she brought in was £69,000 of immediate revenue. She also doubled her social media following. And it's a bit like feeding the beast, really, because if you can get more visibility, i.e. like doubling your social media following, it means that you've got a bigger audience to go and find the right people to bring into your franchise. In terms of revenue, immediate and contractual over a 5-year term, she added over 6 figures to her turnover. She could have very easily said that she didn't have time to do that, but she found the time to focus because we prioritized what really mattered for her. So she's a good example. If you're using that like limiting belief of I haven't got the time, we have to let it go, I'm afraid. I'm going to give you some tough love. And let's go back to what I keep hearing. All of those things, franchise is hard, terrible economy, haven't signed a franchisee for a long time. These are not actually the problems. These are the symptoms of the problem. And the problem is that you don't have a predictable pipeline, as I said. You cannot predict what's going to happen over the coming months. And the problem is if you don't have a predictable pipeline of leads that are coming into your business, then it feels a little bit like, and this is not my words, this is people that I've spoken to, it feels like your franchise, where you go and you find new people and you have a bigger impact and you spread your mission, has actually just become a little bit of a coaching business. Or worst case, a really expensive hobby because you're not making any money from it, or you're making less money from it than you need to. And this is really key because you're a business. It's become a coaching business because you're actually spending all of your time focusing on your existing franchisees and keeping them happy. Maybe you're still teaching in your business as well, or delivering your service, whatever you do. And so actually you're keeping everything ticking along rather than going out and doing that sales and recruitment bit. And the great thing about when we do the recruitment bit is that we bring new life into it. My favorite thing in the world is to do franchisee training, like onboarding for newbies, because it just reminds you of that thing that you love about your business. It also lifts all of your other franchisees as well. The ones that have gotten a little bit stagnant, they get a rocket up their bum because all the newbies are doing all the things that you told them and it's working. So this is why I'm super passionate about franchise recruitment. And because all of that stuff is happening, what's also happening behind the scenes, and again, nobody likes to admit this, is you're falling out of love with your business. And that breaks my heart, straight up. It absolutely breaks my heart because the reason that you are where you are is because you loved something. So it's a problem. We've got to fix it, and we can fix it. And this is important. If you don't have a predictable pipeline, then you can't make plans because you don't know what your money's going to be from month to month. You can't invest in growth. And I speak to so many franchisors that would amaze you, and they go, oh, I really want to work with you, but I can't afford to. This is happening. I don't have the cash flow. So if you don't have the cash flow coming in, then it's really, really difficult to grow the business. And it's that chicken and egg cycle all over again, the one that you had to battle when you got started in the first place. I mean, it also means you probably can't sleep because you don't know where your money's coming from month in, month out. Yes, you've got revenue from your franchisees if you've got existing franchisees, but actually that money, in my own experience of being on franchisor side, goes out just as quickly as it comes in. So, it's keeping you up at night. We don't want that at all, at all. Let's look a little bit deeper at why franchise marketing specifically is hard. Digital marketing has changed so rapidly in the last even 6 months, believe it or not. And it feels like something that people say to scare you, but it is the reality. Social media algorithms are working against you, is what it feels like a lot of the time, even though it's not personal because they don't know you. And what I'm also seeing an awful lot of is franchisors telling me that their ads have stopped working. And that actually is a direct impact from algorithm changes because social media has completely changed. The other thing that makes franchise marketing really hard versus if you are a coaching business and you're selling courses is that your ideal franchisee within a lifestyle context, and most of you here are lifestyle brands, they don't know that you exist. They might know that your company exists and your brand. They might have used your services, but they don't know what a franchise is. They don't know you're an option. So they're not looking for franchise opportunities in the way that somebody would be looking for a job. And that's a huge hurdle to get over. They don't understand what a franchise is. But what I see an awful lot of, and this really in our industry, like I want it to stop because it's so detrimental, but we're rushing them onto a call because in our whole psyche about sales, we're hearing a day older is a day colder. And that actually, speed wins. We've got to get in front of them as quickly as we can so that they don't lose interest. The most expensive thing in the world right now actually is other people's attention. But that doesn't work in franchising because if we rush them on a call and they don't even know what a franchise is, then they either don't turn up to the call and they ghost you, or they turn up, they have no idea what's going on and why you're telling them they've got to spend loads of money, and they feel like it's a con. It's really hard to sell from that starting point, isn't it? So that's an extra hurdle that we face in franchising. And the other reason that I see that franchise marketing is hard for franchisors particularly is that marketing isn't consistently happening in your business because maybe you just don't know what to say. There was a time, even just like 2 years ago, where you could get away with saying, hey, come buy my franchise, come buy the franchise, come and buy a franchise, and people would, or you could run ads and drive people to the sales page and people would. That's gone. That's never coming back. Okay. That whole era of doing it like that will never work again. And if you don't know what to say, it's really hard to show up on a regular basis, 2, 3, 5 times a week. You're not going to be shouting about your franchise, so you're not going to be getting the attention. Follow-ups aren't consistent because they're on a whim. Most franchisors I speak to are still running off of spreadsheets at the moment. I'm going to tell you a story about that in a second. But your leads aren't consistent because you don't fancy following up that day. And so it doesn't happen. You have to uncouple the outcome from the emotion and how you feel about it. And look, I know an awful lot of you have tried various different things with AI. Maybe you've got Claude to write your copy, or you've bought into a marketing bot. They don't work. And they don't work because they aren't you. And you also don't have the time to really train it and refine it and take the time that it's going to take. It's the most missold shortcut that I think is out there at the moment. So this is why you are finding it hard. And this is why your limiting beliefs are going, oh, it's too hard. It's not working. No one's buying anything. And it's not that nobody's buying franchises. This here is my client, Nicola Mitchell. Nick is the franchisor of Snap Happy Babies. When she came to me, she had zero franchisees. She had just franchised. And we, first thing we did was she had a pilot waiting that made her feel sick every time the phone rang. So we got rid of that one. Bad fit. Okay, this franchise recruitment should never be about taking people in out of desperation. That's the biggest mistake you'll ever make. But you guys know this already. Nick, in just 10 months, managed to sign 5 new franchisees. She did it actually as one cohort, which was incredible. She added £60,000 to her bottom line, which is amazing. The impact that her business had in just 10 months was that because she had those 5 new franchisees, and one of them didn't work out, full transparency, but the new franchisees she brought on, her brand was able to go and serve 2,000 more families, which is incredible. She's a photography business. She's just about, I've put over 10 months. She actually did this in about 4 months, believe it or not. But I put 10 months because she's just about to onboard her next 3 franchisees as well, because she's building a consistent pipeline of people. And that's given her the freedom to take on a franchise manager. So suddenly she's not doing it all. So please don't sit and think that nobody's buying franchises. They are. Let go of that limiting belief. Kick it out the window. So, told you some reasons why marketing in franchise is hard. I think there are 2 big problems, like big problems, that compound everything for you as a franchisor at the moment. The first one is outdated practice. You have your franchisees, you've got to support them. You've got a business to run. I mean, I spent like 2 hours this morning reconciling zero. I know that, there's loads of business things that keep our time and attention, but because you're working on an outdated, set of systems and operations for your business, because maybe you haven't had that digital transformation yet, because it's terrifying and overwhelming, it means that technology isn't quite keeping up. And you're probably looking at a whole load of different like setups and AI things that can fit over your business, and it's just completely overwhelming for you. I get that. But if you can't keep up to date with everything, then you can't progress, because you're going to be the bottleneck in your business trying to do everything. And again, I've got a story about that coming up in just a minute, because I've been there. And also outdated systems. So practice is one thing, and how you do things, the systems that are like literally the most important thing in a franchise. We are business systems, right, as franchisors. But if you are managing to get some marketing consistency out there, and well done if you are, and get the messaging right and attract the right people, you're probably finding that the people that you're pulling in are not converting. And that's because you don't have a solid system that's helping you to qualify whether they are the right people and convert the lead. Like it's 2026, you're still operating on kind of older systems, unfortunately. And again, that spreadsheet story, I love a spreadsheet, but a spreadsheet cannot run your franchise recruitment anymore. It's not intelligent enough. So it means that you are stuck. And that story, I lived it. I know this really well because I lived it. So I was a Daisy First Aid franchisee for 11 years, or 10 years technically as a franchisee. And I spent a year as managing director last year. It's a national franchise. It was once thriving. So I'd kind of stepped out of the business operations like a year earlier. And we'd been doing really well. We had a huge momentum. The CEO is incredible. She attracts wonderful people, and everything was kind of cooking on gas. We had a recruitment manager come in, like a third party one. And when I left the business, we were doing all right. Not thriving, but we were doing all right. And when I came in as MD, what happened was our recruitment manager left about 2 months after I came in. So I took over recruitment, and it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking, because the franchise recruitment manager was amazing. She was a lovely person, but she was running off of spreadsheets. Follow-ups didn't happen unless she manually went in and did them. There was no record of them on the system. So when she left and she took the knowledge with her, all I had was what was on a spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet was as up to date as she made it or didn't make it. It exposed an incredible hole in our business where we thought we were covered. And it was hard, really hard, but we had to face the fact that actually as a business, despite having a recruitment manager in with a dedicated email and a brochure on our website and a sales page, we weren't actually marketing the franchise properly at all, not anymore. We weren't targeting anyone. We were just saying, hey, come buy our franchise. And there was no system. So if somebody wasn't physically doing it, it wasn't happening. And so the leads went colder. We didn't manage to convert as many people as we should have. Conversations got missed. We got ghosted an awful lot. Like most of my time in those early days was wasted waiting for people to turn up to franchise calls. And what it did was it led to a huge digital transformation project. But like most of us, we didn't have a budget. There was no like pot aside for 2025 for us to go and do a digital transformation in the business. It didn't happen. So I'm quite resourceful by hook or by crook. I had a lot of systems knowledge and I had the marketing knowledge, is what I do. And this digital transformation project, when I say it had incredible results, it blew us away. We went from not recruiting a franchisee for at least 6, I think it was actually 9 months. We had no franchisees coming in. We were like a cohort set up at that point. So we had skipped over 3 cohorts where we didn't have any newbies coming in, which was heartbreaking and devastating from a bottom line point of view. What we did with the system was I built it. We set up targeted recruitment marketing that really dialed in on who exactly we wanted and the language that was right for them. We automated all of the follow-ups. We put an advanced nurture system in place, so that even after like the first couple of emails, we could still stay in conversation with them without me having to go in. Because when I started, I was having to go into the inbox every couple of days and just reply to stuff that had to go because I had a business to run. I had 2 businesses to run at that point. We stopped treating everyone the same. Some of those people had had various conversations already. Some of them were really, really engaged and kind of showing good buying signals, whereas others had just downloaded the brochure and nothing. And we were treating them the same, which was a real waste because actually they weren't the same. Some of them were much further engaged than anybody else, than the other one. Sorry, I'm about to be Zoom bombed, I think. Can hear the kids outside. The biggest win for me as MD at that point was that I stopped wasting time on unqualified leads, because those ones that had just downloaded the brochure and hadn't done anything else, like the ones that we capture at the moment and go, oh, that's a warm lead, they weren't warm leads at all. They were just tire kickers. So I was wasting so much time waiting for calls, chasing to set up calls that, frankly, if we're realistic, were never going to happen. When we put that system in, the franchisee quality of lead massively improved, not just because of the front end, but because the system weeded out the ones that actually were never going to do anything. So it meant that we could spend our time with the right people. And it also meant that for us, rather than having to suddenly like find, like, let's say like on a like baseline 1% conversion rate, we'd need to find 100 leads every month to funnel through the system and waste money on ads that really didn't convert very well, just to try and get like 5 calls, 1 franchisee. Actually, when our system got smarter, we didn't actually need that at all. And actually in half that, with like 50 leads, we could do an awful lot more in terms of conversion. So when I talk about this, I've lived it. And I know, hands down, systems beat talent every time. You can be the best marketeer in the world. If you don't have a system behind you, you're going to struggle with that consistent pipeline. So how did we do it? How did we get 3 franchisees in 3 months? What I want to say about these franchisees is that some of them knew us already, okay? Like, full transparency, some of them had contacted us like years before. Because that's what happens in franchising. Some of them were new, and one of them was in Ireland, and we were so excited because we didn't have a franchisee in Ireland. It wasn't like they bumped into our stuff or done our class. Like, we got them. It was wonderful. How did we do it? Well, first of all, at the front end over here, there's my mouse, we made sure that we knew what we were doing. So before we started here, we actually went back a step and figured out, what does our system need to do, that if we can get that person in, that we can pop them out onto what we wanted, which was a video call with me. So we got really crystal clear on what we needed first before we built anything. And then I built a very basic version of a system that just handled some basics that I was manually repeating over and over again. We got really, really clear on the marketing. We looked at in our franchise set already who was doing really well, who had the right skill set, the right attitude, what were their commonalities, what were their backgrounds, were there any things that we should actually maybe use as targeting. Now, we knew at Daisy First Aid that we attracted an awful lot of paramedics and people in the NHS. We knew that we'd been started by a police officer, so they were good to target. But we also got lots of other types of people, like mums on mat leave, that had been to our class. So we ran a couple of different campaigns, and this here is an example of just one of them. And we put out, we spoke to the franchisees that were in those situations, and we said, how are you feeling? What are you doing? So this one here was, did you know that we offer a blue light discount? We never told anyone that if you are a blue light worker, you get a discount. So we told people. And guess what? It wasn't the deal breaker for them, but it did interest them enough that they would come and have a chat with us. The other thing that we did around that campaign is when we were targeting, let's say, like nurses, we spoke to our nurses in our franchise and said, how do you feel? How did you feel when you found us? Relieved. How were you feeling in your job before you found us? Exhausted. So we used their language into our campaigns, and that was it's such an obvious thing, but we don't take the time to do that when we're trying to spin all the plates. The mums on mat leave one. The mums on mat leave was a huge post for us. This post here, the blue light discount, attracted 63 leads on its own, and it only ran through Instagram stories. We could have done a lot more with that. Now, Daisy First Aid, full transparency, benefits from a really big engaged Instagram account because we put a lot of marketing through it. But if one story can generate 63 leads, it comes back to, are you doing enough at the moment? Or are you just saying it's hard? And what we did with those leads, I did this manually at the start and then I put it into the system, right? But what we did was I DM'd every single, so we did it as a poll on a story, and people who voted like, no, I want more information. I would DM them and I'd give them like I had a little script, like ask them a question, ask them about them and their individual situation. And about 30% of the leads that we generate would then come back and engage with me in a conversation. It was only when they'd engage with me in a conversation that I then offered them the link. I didn't rush them on a call. Like, here's the brochure if you want a clear next step. So we pulled back actually rather than push forward. And in that DM situation, when that volume got too much, we set up a system that could handle it ourselves. And that system, there's two ways to do this. You can put AI in and have a proper conversation with them, or you can just use an autoresponder, very basic. We just used the very basic one, and it worked a treat. And what we did with those DMs was we funneled them to our website. We changed the website. And rather than just trying to do everything on one sales page, we actually split it into 3 pages. So we have a landing page, which if you go to the Daisy First Aid website and just hit join the business or whatever they've got as at the moment, like join us, you'll see that first sales page. There's a video on it with Jenny, who's the CEO. There's really clear information. It tells people what a franchise is. How many of you do that on your sales page? Most of us don't, right? And it gave a case study of one of our franchisees. So we gave them information. We gave them one really clear point of action in the middle of the page, and that was download the brochure. And as soon as they downloaded the brochure, then they went into our nurture system. And our nurture system was, again, about qualifying first. Just because they downloaded a brochure, that wasn't enough for us. We wanted to qualify them a bit further. So as soon as they got the brochure, they then started on a nurture sequence that said, hey, really happy that you're interested in the franchise. Tell us a bit more about yourself. So we put a barrier in the way deliberately. So they had to fill out a form and they had to give us some information about themselves, what they were doing now. We put some qualifying questions on there. As soon as they completed that form, which was like step 2 in our funnel, they then got sent to a page where they book a call. So they had to earn that call, basically. And this was all backed up with different email campaigns that did different things depending on the actions. And the results were amazing. And I'll share some of those results in a little while with you. But it meant that we weren't treating everyone the same. And actually, I told you that one of those franchisees that we signed had been with us previously, had inquired previously. Well, what happened was she came back into our funnel. She'd seen the marketing campaign. And for her, this time around, she decided to book a call because on one of the nurture sequences, rather than just saying, hey, come book a call, we gave her like a real case study, an in-depth story about one of our franchisees. And we put a little bit of video with it that we got the franchisee to film for us. And we told Amy's story about where she was before she bought the franchise, where she is now. And on that call, I'll never forget it, this franchisee said to me, this prospect, the reason that I booked the call with you actually was because I really liked Amy's story. I could see myself in her. No amount of ad spend is going to buy you that. So we really made sure that system worked. And the result was on a call. Now, most of these calls, I'm not bragging because it doesn't always happen like this, but most of those calls, after one call, they'd already had enough information by the time they hit that call to make their decision yes or no. And they didn't all say yes. And actually, we rejected 2 of them because our territories were already occupied. But that's how we did it. Nothing in there was rocket science. It was the sum of all the parts. And how we did it consistently, one after the other, was that we didn't just stop when we did one. The system carried on going while I ran the rest of the franchise. So it's possible. And that's how we did it. And that's really how Impact Franchising the agency was born, because that worked really well. And alongside being an MD, I was consulting. I was doing consultancy work with other franchisors, and they were all struggling with exactly the same thing. They would learn everything, they'd absorb everything. Some of you on this call have been through that process, but the yacht stuck when they had to go and do the tech bit. When I said to them, go create a sales page, go create a lead magnet, that was where the gap started to happen. I just got really like, as I do, a bit annoyed with this about, how frustrating it was for you guys. So I just went and did a sales page one day to show a client. I was like, actually, I could just do this properly. So that's how this all started, really. It's franchise first. It's not a retrofit. Most of the systems on the market and all of the things that people do, it's all trying to retrofit. Daisy first said we looked at every system on the market. None of them fit for franchise. Human-led, true voice, not AI content. Real videos with your real voice is how we work our franchise growth engine, which is our done for you service. We are obsessed in the agency with predictable pipelines. It doesn't matter what you do with us in the agency. That's what we want for you. We want you to have the sleep that you deserve, the knowledge and the safety of the fact that you have got leads working all of the time. And we build systems that power your franchise, basically. That's kind of the whole premise of what that agency was born to do, something that I couldn't sit on any longer. So now you know how I did it. And how I got here, actually, as well. How am I doing time? And how I got here. I'm going to give you 3 things that you need to do to create your own predictable pipelines. The first one is make sure you've got the right content. Not come by my franchise, that won't work on its own. Delivered in the right places, not where you're comfortable. Delivered where it needs to be. And there's a whole science behind, this. And I'd say present, not perfect, but making sure that you're consistently in the right places to get the right people and that you're saying the right thing. So I have an entire framework around this called Speak Pain Framework. And the key really is the speak bit at the top, making sure that whatever content you're putting out has a combination of this or one element of this and it all rolls together. So sales information, personal connection, education, we've got to tell them what franchise is, activation. I see so many franchisors doing incredible content, and the bit that they miss is activation. They don't say, hey, come buy my franchise, which is ironic, isn't it? And knowledge. This is key. Personal brand is everything right now. You cannot hide behind the fact that you have a franchise that's a national brand. You have to bring yourself as the franchisor to the forefront and build emotional connection by sharing the knowledge that you have. They are going to come and buy from you. They are not going to just buy your franchise. So that's step 1. Step two is you need a robust system. You probably got this by now from everything I just said about being at Daisy First Aid, right? But it needs to be automated but personal. It needs to feel like you. Always on, so you don't have to be. I could not have done what I did at Daisy First Aid if I was still trying to do it all manually. And actually, outsourcing to a person didn't work either because there was no system behind what she was doing either. So you need a robust system that can deliver immediate information. People need speed right now. They don't need to be on a call fast. They just need information to absorb fast. Qualifying your leads is really important so you don't waste time. You need a system that can assist you throughout the process, assist you being key. You're not going to be removed from this entirely. It's got to be able to provide the nurturing content and build the trust that we just talked about. It needs to be able to give you data so that you can make data-led decisions, so that you are acting on fact and proof rather than gut feel. You can put your gut feel in there, but make it data-backed. And you've got to stop being the bottleneck. Exactly like I just said at Daisy First Aid. If it all has to come from you, if you have to do everything, if it's dependent on how you feel today and it doesn't happen, there's no need for that anymore. So you need a system. And also, you need support. Systems are great, but we're people and people need people. And sometimes we need to kick up the bum. We just do, don't we? We need that accountability. So in that support, what you should be looking for is accountability, somewhere that you can get advice, genuine advice that where people want you to win, super important. And a sense of belonging when it feels hard, because it is going to feel like it's hard. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that if it feels hard, there are ways to make it systemized and easier. And if you don't have that human connection, that support for yourself that picks you up when you're having a rubbish morning, blimey, it's hard, isn't it? Okay. So that's what you need to go do. I can't see your faces, but if anyone here wants a shortcut, I've got one for you. And what I'm going to talk you through, you can do all of this on your own, right? You can, but it's time and it's money, isn't it? Always. Now, this shortcut that I'm going to show you or talk you through is all based on everything that I've told you so far. My lived experience, my experience of working with other clients, and looking at the industry right now, where we're at. So, our growth system in your franchise. It dawned on me while I was writing this that, your franchisees buy a franchisor that they get proven systems, but you have to do your own proving of your own system. Well, what if you could take on my proven system in your setup? Something that works consistently in the background to deliver information to your leads, so you haven't got to be emailing them all the time, that qualifies them and politely just, marmites out the ones that aren't right without you having to do that awkward call thing and go, oh, no, sorry, you're not the right one. And also to set up your franchise inquiry calls. So what we're looking at is a system that is customized to you based on my knowledge, not AI written, it's me, literally blood, sweat and tears, that delivers qualified calls to your diary. You still have to convert them, but I think it's really important never to remove yourself from the process, because you have to be a partner with them. They have to be the right fit for you. I think a lot of that comes down to gut feel as well, once we've kind of done what we can to qualify. It leaves you then to focus on the marketing, the front end bit, the top of the funnel to pull them in. And you get to do what you love whilst having expert guidance from me. And it means that, running your franchise and supporting your franchisees can be your primary focus without the guilt of going, oh my God, my business is dying this month because I haven't brought in any new franchisees for 6 months. So there are proven results with this. Like I said, the first 3 months of the year, the sales system only results were a 1.9% overall conversion rate. So of all of the leads that we put through that initial system, which has been refined since then actually and added to, but of all of the leads that we put through, every single one of them without qualifying, 1.9% of them converted. It dropped our no-show rate to just under 4%, 3.7%. And if you're worried about, oh my God, loads of emails going out, people are going to hate me. Well, actually, the quality of those emails and the subject lines were really high. So we got really good engagement. This is where not being AI is a huge bonus. 70% open rate on emails is phenomenal. We'd expect about 40% if we're lucky. And 26%, a quarter of people who received emails through our system opened them and clicked on them, which is insane. And I said we put a barrier in the way, didn't we? So that's everybody, the whole people, everyone that came through the system. For the people that met us at that first hurdle and put in their form to register for their kind of interest and tell us that they were a serious lead, 34% of everybody went to the next stage and give us their details and told us more about themselves. So of that 34% of people who ticked the box and qualified themselves, we then continued to qualify them. 67% of those people booked a call, which is humongous. Of the calls that were booked, 84% were attended, which was brilliant. We actually cancelled 11% of the calls that were booked through because the territory was occupied. And we still had some no-shows. So with the 34% and the 67% that booked calls, 11% of those didn't show up. That's always going to happen, but massive reduction versus where I started with it all. So that's what the system, the franchise growth system, does in your business. There's loads of stuff included. This is my most boring slide, I think, but it's important. So the platform's built on Go High Level. You have a dedicated sales funnel in there with an extended nurture sequence. I could talk about this all night, but I'm aware that you probably don't want me to. 2 layers of lead qualification, readiness scoring, so that we're not treating everyone the same. If they're not quite ready and they need to learn more about the franchise, they do. If they show us that actually they're ready for the call from the actions that they take, we fast track them in. We're not holding anybody back, but we're not pushing people forward quicker than they're ready. It books all the appointment for you and does all of that. It handles the no-show and gets them to rebook. It's very, very clever. But also included in this, so it's a platform which basically comes with my build out in it, and we customize it for you. But you will also get access to a marketing suite, which I'm going to show you a little bit more on in a second. The biggest advantage of that marketing suite is that you can schedule across every social media platform in one place. So it makes your marketing quicker and easier. So essentially, we'll do it all. You just need to focus on going out there, creating the content, and actually, having some freedom in your life, which is nice. Your marketing suite. It's got tools in it to schedule across all of the socials that you can see here on the screen. You can schedule to Instagram stories. YouTube is my favorite thing to schedule to. It's a huge platform. If you're at the Disruptive Franchise Awards, you'll know why. There's also an email broadcast system in there. So this can replace any scheduling tool that you have. It can replace MailChimp or MailerLite or whatever it is that you're using. There's a reporting suite in there. So you can see who's clicked on your links and opened your emails and things like that. You can also create DM auto responders in there. So when you see things like DM the web pipeline and I'll send you the link, you can set that up in your marketing suite, which is phenomenal because it means you don't need many chat and things like that. You can also have WhatsApp in here as well, WhatsApp integration. Now, before we move forward, I just want to address something that I would be worrying about at this point, and that is your data. Any data that we collect is yours. It remains yours. It's not our property. We don't use it. Nobody uses it but you. And it's housed in your own individual sub-account. So nobody else uses it. If you decide to leave the service, you take it with you. We're not keeping it. It's no use to me. So hopefully that gives you the reassurance that this is a safe, closed system. We want you to win. I'm not doing this to get your data. I've got my own. And remember that thing we needed, the human support? Well, that's included too. So I have an exclusive community called the Impact Circle, which will give you support and community with other franchisors to chat through. Basically, anyone who works with my agency gets automatic entry into this community. You can't buy your way into this one. We do a monthly group call, and this is just opening with you guys. Like, this is literally like you're going to be, you guys are my agency beta testers. Like, you're the foundation, you're the members, which is awesome. You also get access to me so that while you're doing your own thing with marketing, you can ask me anything and get my help and stuff. And there's a learning portal in there as part of that as well, which contains my entire Speak Pain framework, which has got a training workshop and all kinds of stuff in there to help you to be able to go and create that content that converts. There's full system on all of the marketing suite that I just said in there as well. And I'm also going to be putting additional resources in there as we go. So it's a really valuable tool that you literally can't get anywhere else. And how does this practically help you? Well, you can create the content and schedule it in the system. You can set up the auto responders so that you don't have to do that bit. There is even a funnel in there. So you can use so I've created a 3-page funnel. So you can either retro this into your existing website and build your own bits and have our forms in there. Or you can say, actually, Stace, I don't even want to do that bit of tech. You do it, in which case you can use our templated pages, which will customize for you. Then when they hit the download and they come into the system, we build the system for you. I'm not giving you the tools, I'm creating the system for you. And all of those emails, I need to count how many emails, but there are 7 or 8 different sequences that branch off. This is really, really intricate. And there's a framework to those emails, but they are customized with your information. They are from you, they're in your tone of voice, with your stories, your links, and everything else that we will build out for you. And that would take you hours to do, days. Actually, the first time I did it round, it doesn't take me days anymore. But yeah, all done for you, ready to go, ready to do everything I've said on this masterclass so far. And what it will do is it will deliver calls into your existing diary via Google Meet or Zoom. So you don't even have to do that bit, which is pretty cool. The real benefits for the franchise growth system, other than everything I've just said, is that you will get a predictable pipeline through this because they're nurtured properly, they're captured properly. It makes it easier for your financial planning. You'll get a high quality conversion because the people getting on the calls with you are the right people, finally. You're going to spend less time on admin and we all hate admin, don't we? Let's be, like I said, a couple of hours this morning just sat there doing zero. I can't take that away from you on this. But your content creation gets easier because you can schedule it all in one place rather than going into different platforms or paying separately for it. And it gives you a real digital foundation. Now, I don't have enough time really to go into the detail here, but once you've got this in your business as a system, you can then bespoke custom build on it. It's Go High Level. It's a really amazing platform. You can get my agency to go and do build outs for you. You can turn it into your franchise CRM. You can house your franchisee onboarding stuff on there. You can house your operations manuals and things like that on there. You can do so much with this platform. There is additional cost to do that work because, of course, it's going to be completely bespoke to you. But the option's there. You haven't got to go and buy another system after this, which is incredible. And I'm happy to answer any questions around that as well. I just haven't got enough time there's so much. I haven't got enough time to dive into that. But this is like your starting point done for you with me in it. And there's a whole load of plans to add in things like a chatbot from me and things like that. There's really exciting tools coming. I'm not going to tell you about those yet because I don't want to sell on that because they're not in there yet. The investment, this is the bit, isn't it, where everyone's like, oh, what's it going to cost me? Actually, it's a monthly subscription. And that monthly subscription is £147. It's on a rolling basis. It will repeat every month. You can cancel it whenever you like. You're not going to be tied in. That monthly subscription includes unlimited emails and also WhatsApp integration. There is some WhatsApp usage fees because that's going to be very dependent on you and how you use WhatsApp. So the usage fees get passed on, but the integration is included. There is also a one-off setup fee. Hopefully by now you've understood that this is a custom setup for you with my frameworks in it. So I will have to go in and make sure that everything works in the way for you, that your franchise qualification stuff is bespoke to you. Do you need them driving, for example? Do they need to be physically active? Whatever. Do they need teaching experience? We build all of that into the system. I do that work for you, or my team does that work for you. Can't claim all the glory. So the one-off setup fee is usually £997. It's a one-off fee to get everything built and done. And And that can be paid across four installments for the first 4 months. We have a fast action bonus here. So the first 5 people that sign up to the franchise growth system will be able to get that sign-up fee, that one-off setup fee, half price, $497 only. That's the offer for tonight. That's thank you for joining and being here. You've got first dibs on this. How does this all compare? Is a good question to be asking, because you can go high level yourself. To buy go high level yourself is once you've added on like the currency conversion and the tax and added in WhatsApp at the level that we give you, it's £104 a month on its own. And you get all of my bespoke stuff and you get access to the impact circle as well. The cost of doing this alone actually works out at a kind of rough estimate of somewhere between £155 and £216 a month to do it all separately, plus the time, plus you need a community behind you that you don't get with any of that, plus coaching from me if you wanted it. I'm going to be in that exclusive community with you. So that's what we've got there. I added all of that up, and even if you paid the $997 for the setup fee and 12 months worth of monthly subscriptions, it still comes in at less than the price of one of your franchises to sell. So every single one of you could cover a year's worth of costs on this by just selling one additional franchise. I'm pretty confident that that would happen with our system. So that's the offering. I'll take questions in a little while. How it works, because it is a setup process. This is not buy it now, go tonight. Sign up, you get immediate access to the impact circle. So we're straight into the community altogether. You'll get sent an onboarding form, which is quite detailed. You're going to have to spend a little bit of time filling that in. That gives me everything that we need to get your account set up. Then we do a system setup call together where I integrate all of your marketing stuff. I'm not going to send you away to figure out how you integrate Meta because it's the worst headache in the world. I'll do that with you on a call with you. And then we finish your entire system setup. We get your emails going and all of the rest of it. Set up your domains ready for you to be able to send out emails as your brand. And you get your login and you get started. So it's quite simple, but it takes a few steps to get it right. Because for me, there's no point giving you something that's generic. No franchise is generic. They are as individual as you guys are as people. So if you're looking at that going, yep, this is for me, I'm going now, scan that big blue one there, and that will take you over to the info page. If you want a bit more information, again, scan that page, it will take you there. If you think, this could be for me, I'm not quite sure, you can book in a free call here on the little QR code with my team, and they will be able to talk you through whether it's right for you or not. They'll ask you some questions. If it's not right for you, we're going to say no, because for me, it's really important to be working with the right people and that you get the right support that you need and the right systems that you need. But I haven't yet found a franchise that this won't work for. One question I'm going to answer before I come to you guys is you probably already have different subscriptions and things like that. If you already have a Go High Level subscription under someone else, so like Funnel Sketches, for example, then we can't marry the two systems together. They would stay separate. But I'm pretty confident we can find a way, if we need to, of sharing the data between each account. And again, that would just be included as part of the setup. There would be no additional cost for that.
This episode was brought to you by Impact Franchising, the agency who offer predictable franchise growth done for you. If you have loved what you've heard, please go and help other people find it by hitting the subscribe button and liking the episode. See you on the next one.